Welcome back to How to Start a Cannabis Farm. Step 6, Application Examples. Well, luckily for you, you can see me and see exactly what I'm looking at, right? Right. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do is kind of go back over this application and kind of change some stuff just to give you a few different examples. But before we even get into that any further, the only thing that I guess really helped me while I was going through this application as far as looking for an example was searching for plot plan examples. Everything else, it's going to relate 100% to you and your own personal situation. Plot plan examples definitely shows you or gives you an idea of logistics, the way that other people have set things up. If necessary, you can go ahead and email me, and I'll go ahead and try to send you some stuff or help you out. But other than that, here is a description of my proposal. Well, according to Table 4.3-1, which is the use table for forest districts, use number 1, farm, the specific use, farming of recreational marijuana. State law reference. Oh yeah, baby, we getting into that shit. ORS 215.203, definition. OAR 660-006-0025. Actually, those are all zeros or O's. 660-006-0025, parentheses 3, parentheses B as in boy. See also 3.13.2. Description of proposal addressing identifying standards. Through a Type 1 land use authorization, based on our zoning and distance from city limits, as well as being outside of the blank urban unincorporated community boundary, we would like to farm outdoor recreational marijuana on the following property. Input your address. For us specifically, all crops will be grown organically with an emphasis on closed-loop no-till farming practices. For you, however, you could put all crops will be grown using state-of-the-art, you can tell it's so hard for me to bullshit this. State-of-the-art fucking lab-made synthetic salts made from fucking Stardust and goddamn Smurf piss. Fucking Gatorade. Fuck. On mine, no synthetics or chemicals will be used ever. On yours, you can put, we will always use synthetics. Oh, man. Okay, sorry. I need to get with it. Alright, so I'm just going to go with what the fuck I say, because my shit sounds better, goddammit. All crops will be grown organically with an emphasis on closed-loop no-till farming practices. No synthetics or chemicals will be used ever. With an intent on leaving this land better than it was found, we plan on using a variety of microbes, some indigenous, along with a variety of fungi and bacteria to break down debris from our property for use as nutrients for our plants. These debris are normally fuel or tinderbox material, but will be reintroduced into soils as organic matter for nutrient content. By using organic matter for nutrients and not synthetic fertilizers, we will eliminate runoff that may negatively impact surrounding farms, forests, and wildlife associated with said environments. Specific element-fixing bacteria will also be used to eliminate potential nitrate and phosphate runoff even from organic sources. These bacteria will also aid in the efficient use of organic fertilizers and ferments, reducing overall waste in general. Through this type of farming, the native soils will be improved year after year, as well as increasing the overall biodiversity in the area. Some of the terms that you can use are, regenerative farming and biodynamic farming. Regenerative farming is the goal, while biodynamic farming is one of the steps to attain that goal. Regenerative farming, the focus is on bettering your soil, bettering the habitat in which you live, or actually turning it into a habitat, I should say. Through biodynamics, you are adding a variety of animals, usually domestic, such as horses, cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, chickens, rabbits, and then a variety of plants to, again, improve that biodiversity and ecosystem, which should bring about a variety of microbes and bring in worms and this and that and whatnot. Okay, back on subject. A natural IPM system, or integrated pest management system, will be employed year-round. So your IPM system, or your integrated pest management system, the idea behind it, the philosophy behind it, is to prevent instead of counter. You're supposed to... So in nature, everything kind of checks itself, right? You're supposed to be that nature by either A, providing preventative sprays and through things like volatile essential oils, which you just think of like something stinking, you don't want to be around it. That's the purpose. Things like adding soaps, to suffocate any bugs, or even allowing soaps or things like aloe or yucca to allow certain sprays to stick better. Introducing predatory insects, adding certain fungi, or spraying certain fungi or bacteria on your plants, things like that. You're using them preventively. You're trying to make sure that you don't have to fight an infestation, because many times, by the time that you notice an infestation, it's way too late, or depending on when you notice it, drastic means may have to be taken, but you then have unusable product. So anyways, using predatory insects, concentrated essential oils, and a variety of animal and plant products, we'll be able to combat and control any infestation without harming the environment or anyone working with us. Right now, there's a lot of pesticides that have been, I guess, approved for use on like food crops, but not for use in combustible products like weed. When combusting certain things, they change them on a molecular level and can also release byproducts. Like shit like fucking cyanide gets released and all kinds of nasty stuff. And so that's one of the issues. One of the other bigger issues is also, and this really didn't start happening until all this dab stuff really came out. When people started making distillates and all these super concentrated extracts where, pesticides were legal-ish at certain parts per million, or they were grass or generally recognized as safe according to them. But when they were concentrated through these extractions, they become much more dangerous, just because obviously the parts per million is much more concentrated. And you start getting shit like, for me in particular, like start smelling strawberries when strawberries aren't there. And you look up something like phantom smells and realize a lot of that is from either too many pesticides or butane left in the or solvent still left in the extract. And the fucked up part is I started smelling strawberries off some shit that I bought in a dispensary here in Oregon. So just be aware of that. Just because they're licensed, doesn't mean that they're safe. But again, whatever. All waste products that can be composted and reused will be done so. Anything that can't be reused will be reused for some other purpose or thrown away in a secured waste receptacle. Our 6-foot fence is permanent, made with concrete, wooden poles, and horse fence wire, and as such meets the requirements set forth by 3.13.2. And again, as far as the fencing, it's much more of a deterrent. People are going to cut it, they're going to climb it, they're going to be a dick if they want to be a dick. That's really all I can say. All marijuana waste products will be stored in lockable, secured waste receptacles in the possession and under control of us, the licensee. Any lighting used for harvesting and processing will not be illuminated from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. the following day. We will either work in the dark or wait until 7:01 a.m. I actually wrote that. Any exterior light fixtures, such as our security lights, will not spill onto adjacent lots and will be considered dark sky qualified light fixtures. Again, I think those are the ones that are capped on top, so it just shines down. We won't use any tents, recreational, or camping vehicles for overnight stays or as a living space in conjunction with the farming of recreational marijuana. Employees will either live at the house on the property or will have their own accommodations outside the licensed premises. Whatever you do with that, you can do with that. Yeah. Due to over allocation of groundwater, distance to the closest stream, and that basically not allowing us to have access to a commercial well, and loss of water rights due to inactivity in the 1800s, all of our water will be obtained through a water delivery service and or rain. All security cameras will be recording only the subject property and areas required to comply with OLCC licensing requirements. There are no public rights of way near the property. We are outside all environmental and cultural overlays, as well as outside of any FEMA special hazard flood areas. We are not close to any airports or helipads, and therefore not subject to airport approach or airport concern overlays. We are not close to any streams or riparian areas and are not subject to any applicable setbacks. It's weird how we're not close to any streams, but at the same time, because we're still close-ish to a stream, we can't apply for a commercial agricultural well. Yeah. But that's from technically the water master side, whereas the setback side is more from the planning department. Our property is in the hazardous wildfire area map and is subject to Chapter 8.7's fire safety requirements. As such, a primary and secondary fuel break totaling 100 feet will be applied around the development and set on the property. That's where I was saying you got to have that 100-foot clearance. As stated, we will remove fuels that will produce flame lengths in excess of 1 foot. Think about that. All vegetation within the area will be maintained at less than 6 inches in height and low fuel volume. Fire-resistant shrubs. Well, I guess must have left something out there. We will remove any highly combustible shrubbery, such as juniper, if found. Trees will be horizontally spaced, opposed to vertically spaced. Trees will be horizontally spaced with more than 15 feet between the trunks and will be pruned to remove branches that are dead or that are less than 10 vertical feet above the ground. Any accumulated leaves, needles, limbs, and other dead vegetation will be removed and composted. No flammable ground cover materials will be used in landscaping within 12 inches of buildings. Firewood piles, slash piles, and wood sheds will be placed at least 30 feet from all structures. Access to the property meets road width and a hammerhead turnaround requirements for the Oregon Department of Forestry and firefighting personnel. And all structures will meet the requirements set forth by Chapter 8.7. That's about it. Again, the main thing that's going to help you in this application, as far as an example, is to go ahead and start looking up some plot plans. It'll at least give you an idea of orientation, but just some things to consider. Consider where the sun rises and sets. Consider shadows. And consider the perspective, most importantly, the perspective of county personnel when they're reading your proposal. Remember that they've seen everything. Remember they've seen people that are way fucking smarter than you and people way dumber than you. Remember that they're there to help, but they don't want their time wasted as well. So do your research as far as what's allowed. And that's, I had to personally read I'll just say this. I have chapters 2 through 14 or something downloaded on my computer of the land development ordinances, and I've personally read them myself. if you're going to do this on your own, you're going to have to do that yourself. You're going to have to figure out your own land development ordinances. You're going to have to read them. You're going to have to go on your state laws. You may have to read definitions. You may have to go and read multiple definitions. It's just what you got to do. This wasn't easy, but it's far from hard. It's just go down the checklist. That's all I can say. But as for now, that is the end of step 6. Next, we'll be talking about step 7, county responses, and basically what's going to happen or what they're going to say when you send your application in. Thanks for listening to How to Start a Cannabis Farm.